Hello, boys and girls. We are going to do our next section here in Circuit 4, and that section is this concept of rounding and radicals. Okay, we'll talk about radicals on the next page. Right now we're talking about rounding. Okay, so we're going to look at a number line here. And when I'm looking at this number line, the question is which decimals are closer to 1? Okay, so I want to know 1. Now, when we're going to look at this, I want us to focus on the numbers between 1 and 2. Okay, we're just going to be between 1 and 2. I'm not going to worry about this stuff over here for now. We're not going to worry about this right here. We're talking about these numbers here. And which numbers are closer to 1? Well, 1.1 obviously is. 1.2 is. 1.3 is. And 1.4 is. Okay. And then with that, we're going to look at which decimals are closer to 2. Okay, well again we're over here, so if you look, it's these that are closer to 2, so 1.6 is closer to 2, 1.7 is closer to 2, forgot the decimal, 1.8 is closer to 2, and 1.9. So these are closer to 1, these are closer to 2, and then we got this 1.5 here. Okay, I could put 1.5 here because it's close to 1, but it's also close to 2. It's the same distance away, so it's either here or here, and that's kind of a problem. Okay, so when we look at the number line, which decimal is right in the middle of 1 and 2? Well, that's this 1.5. Okay, 1.5 is. And 1.5 is a problem. Again, if you remember from when you were younger and talking about rounding, it turns out that the 1.5 is actually going to stay in this group right here, the one closer to 2, and it's not going to be part of this group. Okay, and that's what our rounding rules are. We had to make a rule. Obviously, the 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, they're closer to 1. Obviously, 1.8, 1.9 here, they're closer to 2. The problem is with this one right in the middle. Okay, so what is our rounding rules? Well, our first rounding rule says if we are less than 5, we round down. Okay, and we see that right here. 1.1, that's 1 is less than 5, that 2 is less than 5, that 3 is less than 5, that 4. Okay, it doesn't matter there's a decimal, we're just talking about the integer. Okay, number 2, okay, if we are 5 or more, we round up. Okay, we're going to round up. Okay, so for instance, we want to round to the nearest tenth. Okay, that is what these are. These things are tenths. Okay, this number right there, if you remember, wait a minute, this number right there is 1 and 1/10. That's how we say that. Okay, some people say 1.1. Oh, you know what? It's not that number. It is this number right there. That number right there is 1 and 1/10. This number right here is 1 and 9/10. Okay, so you have to know that if you're asked to round to the nearest tenth, you do this a lot in science class, we've got to know that we're rounding to the nearest tenth. So the first thing we want to do is look at which number is our tenth. And our tenth is that number right there. It's that 7. Okay, that's what we're going to round to. So I know my answer is going to be 18, and the end is a decimal point, and there's going to be one more number here. Okay, and that number is either going to be a 7 or it's going to be an 8. So we have to look at that 4. And that 4 is what we look here. If we're less than 5, we round down. If we are 5 or more, we round up. Because that's a 4, that means we're going to round down. And all that means is that 7 is going to stay a 7. Okay, so my answer would be 18.7. Here we have 19 and 382 thousandths. Okay, tenths, hundredths, thousandths. We're asked to do the tenths place again. Okay, so I'm going to come up here to the tenths place. I'm going to highlight that. Okay, whoops. Let me highlight the tenths place. That's this place right there. Okay, so I know my answer is going to be 19 and one spot, the tenths. So the number I have to look at is the next number, which is 8. And 8 is greater than 5. Okay, 8 is bigger than 5. If we are 5 or more, we round up, which means that 3 has to change to a 4. So the answer is 19 and 4 tenths. If I have 18.93, this one's a tricky one. This one's not going to be a tricky one. Okay, we do the same thing. I want to round to the nearest tenth. The nearest tenth is right there. It's at 9. I'm not very good at drawing with this thing here. Okay, but it's at 9. So I know my answer is going to be 18. Oh, it's not writing. Hold on. Where are we here? 18 and something tenths, and that's at 9. I got to decide now. We're moving that, keeping it at 9, or do we have to move it one notch higher? Okay, so I look at the 3, and the 3 is less than 5. Okay, if it's less than 5, we keep it, and so the answer is 18.9. I wrote this really bad, but the answer is 18.9. Okay, it's this last one that's tricky. Okay, so again, instead of using the highlighter, I'm just going to draw a line down. That's my 10 spot. Okay, and so typically we would say, I know my answer is going to be 19 and something. Okay, but now we have a problem because of 6. Okay, 6 is greater than 5, so what's going on here? So we round up. Okay, well, I've already got a 9, 19.9. Okay, well, if I've got 19 right here, and then I've got 19 and 1 tenths, 19 and 2 tenths, and all the way over here I've got 19 and 9 tenths. What's the next number? The next number is 20. So this one, I can't round 6. I can't call that a 10. Okay, the bigger number there would be a 10. We can't say 19 and 10. So what we have to do is we have to round that up to 20. So this one is 20.0. It's the next biggest decimal. Okay, we're going to round 19 is going to go up to 20. Okay, and that gets complicated a little bit there. So we'll see if we have some other options to practice that. Okay, round this to the nearest hundredth. Okay, the hundredth is the second. We have tenths, we have hundredths. Okay, so I know in my work that I'm going to have 18 and, whoops, let me get rid of that there, 18 and, that decimal is going to be there, and I'm rounding to the nearest hundredth, so we have to have 2 spots. And that first spot's going to be a 7. That's not our issue. That's going to stay a 7. Okay, it's the 4 that we have to make the decision. So I look at the number after the 4. I look at the 6. Okay, 6 is greater than 5, which means we round that 4 to a 5. And I have 18 and 75 100ths. 18 and 75 hundredths. Okay. Round to the nearest hundredth. I'm going to have 19 and 2 spots. So I know the 3 is going to be there no matter what. Okay, it's this 8. That's my issue. So I'm going to look at that 2. Okay, and the 2 is less than 5. And if the 2 is less than 5, we're going to keep the 8 as an 8. So I have 19 and 38 hundredths. 18.9312. I made the mistake there. It's 18 and 9,312 ten thousandths. But let's just focus on what we want to round to. I want to round to right there. So I know it's going to be 18 and there's going to be two spots. The first spot is 9 no matter what. It's this one that's the issue. So I look at the 1. 1 is less than 5. So we round down so the 3 stays a 3. Okay, now the last one here is going to be a problem again. Okay, what's the next number after 29? Okay, we're going to look at this 8 here. We're going to have 19 and 2 spots. So it's going to be 29 or it's going to be 19.30. Those are our 2 spots we want to go to. Okay, those are our 2 choices. If I don't round up, it's going to stay 29. If I do round up, it's got to be 30. And so I look at this 8. I say, gosh, 8 is greater than 5, which means we can't round down to 29. That's not an option. That's got to change. So we have to go to 19 and 31 hundredths, 19.30. And there's our answer. Okay, so that's rounding. Oh, I lost my page here. What's the next page down here? We did that. There we go. Okay. Next thing is called radicals. Radicals are roots. Okay, and we haven't had really a chance to talk about radicals yet this year, but a radical is a root. So for instance, the square root of 25. Okay. If I want to know what the square root of 25 is, I say to myself, what 2 numbers multiply to 25, but those numbers have to be the same? So 25 times 1 is 25, but they're not the same, so that's not what I want. What I really want is 5 times 5. So 5 times 5 equals 25, and the square root of 25 equals 5. Okay, if I have the square root of x, okay, means what multiplied by itself equals x. Okay, what multiplied by itself equals x? I wrote this really ugly, so I'm going to rewrite that. What by itself equals x? Okay, the square root of 144. I need 2 numbers that multiply to 144. Well, 72 times 2 does, but they're not the same, so that's not a square root. Okay, 36 times 4 does, but that's not the same. The number I want is 12 times 12. 12 times 12 is 144, so the square root of 144 is 12. Okay, 1296. I need to know what is the square root of 1296. Well, the question then becomes, what 2 numbers multiply to 1,296 that are actually equal? Okay, and it turns out that, hold on one second, please, 12. It's a big number, okay? That number is actually 36. 36 times 36 equals 1296, though the square root of 1296 is 36, not 39, 36. Let me erase that. It's 36. Okay? And we can do that with bigger roots, cube roots. You notice a little 3 in the front. Okay? That means I need 3 numbers that multiply to 125. Well, 2 times 2 times 2 equals 8. Well, that's not 125. 3 times 3 times 3 equals 27. 4 times 4 times 4 equals 64. Turns out that 5 times 5 times 5 equals 125, so the cube root of 125 is 5. Okay, 3375. What times what equals 3375? Well, that turns out that one is 15 times 15 times 15. So the cubed root of 3375 is 15. Okay. 12,167. What number do I multiply by itself 3 times to get to 12,167? Okay. Well, it turns out that if I took 20 times 20 times 20, okay, that answer would be an 8 with 3 zeros. So that's 8,000. I want to get to 12,000. So 20 times 20 times 20 is getting close. Turns out it's 23 times 23 times 23. So the cubed root of 12,167 is 23. That's what that symbol means. Okay, what do I multiply by itself 3 times to get to that? Fourth root. Okay, you'll notice we have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times to get to 256. Okay, that answer turns out to be 4. Okay, 4 times 4 times 4 times 4, that equals 256. 4 to the 4th power equals 256. So this answer would be 4. Okay, this one's huge. I used a calculator for this one. I'm going to admit it. And I used a calculator for this one. There's ways to punch those in. You just have to understand something about exponents. You're never going to see something like that in this math class. But it turns out that the answer is 12. 12 times 12 times 12 times 12 times 12 times 12 times 12. Okay, 12 multiplied by itself 7 times is 35,831,808. So the answer is 12. 12 to the 7th power equals 35,831,808. So if 12 to the 7th equals that, the cube root of 7th is 12. Okay, last one here. And again, I had to use a calculator to get the answer for this one. 167,916. That's actually a million. 679,616. Turns out the answer is 6. Okay, 6 times 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 6, otherwise known as 6 to the 8. Okay, 6 to the 8 is 1,679,616. Okay, and so that answer is 6. The 8th root of 1,679,616 equals 6, right? Those are not ones that we would normally see in here. We're going to mostly be dealing with square roots and with cube roots, and that's what you'll see here. All right? Hey, have a great day. Thank you.